Christmas Eve. Hey, what do you want? All right, so let's get into this and see if we can have a little bit of fun for our last Saturday in 2022 together. All right, so I'm waiting for my screen and see if I get some 5x5. Sweetly, Finley the dog says 5x5. There's my screen. Looking around. All right, so you guys can hear me. So, all right. If you caught the beginning, Merry Christmas Eve. So that's where we are. And welcome to the 100th Saturday night live stream on this channel. And just so happens to be the last Saturday night live stream of 2022. So as I told you guys the other day, not going to be doing it on Christmas Eve, not going to be doing it on New Year's Eve. I'm going to spend Christmas with Mrs. P, and I'm going to spend New Year's Eve with all the neighbors and friends and everything like that. So that'll be that. But I have breaking news for you tonight, guys. Breaking news. I am human. I make mistakes. Yes. Okay. I put up the video on the 10 things to not buy today, and I knew there were going to be a couple of them that were controversial. And a bunch of you guys busted my chops about the battery tools. But the one that everybody beat me over the head with, I mean, there had to be a couple of hundred comments all saying the same thing, that I mistakenly was describing lasers for your weaponry, which is what I was meaning to, and I used the term red dot, and the red dot optics is completely different than lasers and everything like that. So I pinned a comment there saying, my mistake. I own up to it, fess up. That was just a brain fart, and that was it. And people still kept beating me up for it. But I'm human, guys. I do make mistakes. Sorry. Okay. Try not to, but yes. But that was it. So around here today, I am exhausted. I was outside all day. It was about 40 degrees today, but I had to get all this construction crap cleaned up out of my yard now that that's finally all done. So it was like all the scrap wood and metal and everything from the garage going up, and I mean, you name it. So I was hauling stuff and burning stuff and putting things away, and God knows, there's just, my yard is finally, I can finally look at my house and it doesn't look like Billy Bob's swap meet anymore. But thank God. So that was that. But I'll give you a funny story here. Y'all know, talked to you earlier this week about the pond, and the pond is up to capacity at this point, and it seems to be holding, which is good. There's still one little swale, like I told you about. I want to go and fill in. I can get up about another foot in water, which is what I want to do. But so Mrs. P and I went to the Russian grocery store yesterday, I think it was, and one of the things she really loves is dried fish and smoked fish, right? And I forget what the name of it is, but she bought a couple of these dried fish. And she says, "Oh, this is my favorite fish, and everything." She tells me what the name is, and she only knew what it was in Russian. So I get in the car, and she translates it, and she's like, "Oh, it's brim." And I kind of laughed. I said, "Realize that's bluegill." It's like, perfect. We're going to be raising a ton of them. So it's just kind of nice to accidentally find out that, what her favorite fish is what we're going to have in the pond. So that was it. So kind of funny, but I don't know. I got a strange sense of humor anyway. So that was it. But yeah, there's the exciting stuff around here, guys. It's like I tell my daughter, she's like, "Oh, what's new?" I'm like, "Nothing." And that's a good thing. No drama around the household. No news is good news. So that was everything there. But yes, I'm we'll make it through tonight. I'm just tired. That's all. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. So by the time we're done, I'll have been going for 18 hours, and there was a lot of physical labor hauling stuff and carrying stuff today and everything. So, I ain't 21 anymore. My body keeps reminding me of that. All right, so we have a busy night in front of us tonight. We have the drawing for a Delta 2 from Elliot over at Wellbots. So talked about that, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere thereabouts. So we will do that here shortly. And then we also have whoever's getting envelope number 2. And I know what's in it, obviously, because there's only one envelope left, and I know what prize hasn't been drawn. So we will get those 2 things done. So in the interest of having some fun, why don't we start, and we will do the drawing for the Delta 2 here right off the get-go. So let me flip this over, and well, let me tell you exactly what's going on here first. All right, so here's how this is going to work, guys. Same as usual. You had to enter on the video, the birds and bees video the other day when I talked about the contest. In order to be a valid entry, you have to put the state in which you live in, and you have to tell me who the wrapper of the family of Christmas presents is in the house, okay? Or however you do it. Somehow, some way, you've got to allude to wrapping Christmas presents in there, okay? After I draw the name, whoever's name is drawn will have 3 minutes to say, I'm here. What I'm going to ask everybody, and I would suggest you stop now, is to not make any comments while the people are, after I draw the name. So the person who's there has the ability to be seen by myself and or the mods so that we know they announced their presence. Because remember, there's a 90-second delay. And if you only get 3 minutes, it means if you put a comment in right up there, you're going to have literally one shot because you're not going to get it in right at 1:30. And at 3 minutes, your time's up. And if you come back at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, say, oh, I was here, I was in the bathroom. Once I've drawn the other name, we're done. Okay. So that would be it. All right, so let's flip over here, and I will adjust the computer and everything so you guys can see. But all right, let's get that and bring this up. Okay, so I've got the link right here for Tuesday's video. We are going to take out duplicate users. Everybody only gets one entry. And then, of course, I've got to do my question here. What is that? 8 plus 3, 11, if I can see it. All right, let's see how many comments we have. So we'll let this thing tick away. And I thought I saw we had, what do we have? 2,222 people here right now. Nope, now it's 2,755. Okay, let's see how many comments, how many entries we have. 25, 27, 28, 29, 2,976 entries. All right. So I guess at that point, let's scroll down here and we will go start and pick our winner. And we have Leah from Illinois. We both wrap. I've even enlisted the kids to help. So Leah, that is a valid entry. So let's see if Leah is here. Leah, it is 9:08, so you have until 9:11 to tell me you are here. So let's get that back over. I'm trying to look at the computer. So guys, please hold all the comments so we can watch for Leah. And Leah says she is here. Perfect. Okay, the picture matches, so that's even better. All right, good. That means I can now move the computer to where I can actually see it. You guys get the tour of the window. Okay, so Leah, what I need you to do is email me your physical mailing address and your phone number. Obviously your name too. I will get it over to Elliot on Monday. Wellbot sends everything out FedEx, so it's got to be a physical address, can't be a P.O. box. Hopefully, usually they get stuff out on Wednesday. We're talking about maybe getting out early next week so it could be there for Christmas. So cross your fingers, but FedEx delivers all the way up until Christmas Day. So congratulations, you are the proud new owner of a Delta 2 solar generator by EcoFlow. And get me that information. I will get it over to Elliot so he can do everything on his end. So there we go. All right. Let's see if I can get me reorganized here. All right, and then on that one, we will get into normal Q&A here, and just to mess with everybody, because YouTube's having fun shadow banning me again, guys. If you're not getting the notifications to subscribe or anything like that, I see it with the subscriber numbers. They drop every morning, whatever it is. It's just they're playing games again. So I'm just going to say Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, so I can piss off all the YouTube moderators. Sorry, this is a Christian channel, and we'll say Merry Christmas if we want to. But that would be it. Yeah. So, okay. Getting into tonight, guys. Regular Tuesday nights, Saturday nights is all about you guys. Questions from you is what we talk about. You listen to me all week. Now we get to listen to you. Few things. Please, if you have questions for me, please put them in all caps. I mean, there's 2,000 of you guys plus in here right now, and there's one of me. So in order for me to keep up, it's a lot easier for me to scroll through if I'm just looking for all caps. However, please have conversations with everybody else in the chat. There's a lot of times that people in the chat can answer a question that maybe I never get to, or I don't have an answer to, or whatever. So, watch the chat too for answers for your questions if you have them. May get a different opinion as well. I mean, I don't have all the answers. I have my opinions, okay, on certain things. If you ask me, what day it is, I'm going to give you something factual. If you ask me how do I do something, how I do it may be totally different than how somebody else does it. Doesn't mean my way's the right way. Doesn't mean my way's the only way. It's just the way I do it. Okay. So, the other thing that we require around here is that we treat each other with respect. Okay. No yelling, screaming at each other, no name calling, no nothing like that. Okay. It's perfectly acceptable to disagree. I have no problem with that. Okay. Going up and saying to somebody, you're an effing idiot, I disagree with you, that I got a problem with. Okay. The moderators, all of them, are excellent in keeping this a very clean place to be, and I greatly appreciate their work every day they are here. Please thank your mods for us. They keep it a nice place for y'all to show up too. So with that being said, let us get to the top, and we will go through as many of these questions as we can. All right, so let's see. All the congratulations. And Leah saying, oh my, that is so awesome. Thank you. So just make sure you get me your info. But Merry Christmas. Okay. Snot Gurgle Troll. Okay. Has my daughter decided on a PA school? Not yet. She's still got to take her test. And I guess she's planning on taking this sometime, hopefully in January, and start next fall. But then she's got to go through the whole interview process. The application process is more than just filling out an application. They look at your file and say, okay, you've got to have recommendations and face-to-face interviews and all this sort of stuff. So she's going to be doing that for a while. But no, she has not decided. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So, but no, and wherever she chooses, that's on her. I mean, would I like her to come down here and do it? Sure. If she chooses a school in Indiana because she wants to do it there, that's great. I just want her to go. So, Moonlight Gardener, thank you for the super chat. If you fully charge your EcoFlow and don't use it, how long do you think the charge will last? They say it will last a year before you'll see any loss. So, obviously, I would not suggest not checking on your generator for a year. I would also suggest using them every once in a while too, because you want to make sure it's still working. I mean, things happen. It's still an electronic piece of machinery, and all of a sudden something gets in there, or dust or whatever it is. You don't want to find out when the power goes out and plug something in and go, oh crap, this thing doesn't work. So, I still say check it once a month, just like you do anything else. I mean, and I use 4 of mine, and then, out in the garage right now I'm using, because I don't have electricity hooked up in the garage yet. I've still got to put walls up, which that costs money, and then the electrician, that costs money, but I still need to use the garage. So, I mean, power tools and stuff, I'm running off my generators. Works fine. All right. Donna Charge, what do I think about BASF closing? I haven't even heard anything about it. Doesn't surprise me. You're going to see a boatload of layoffs. Big company. I mean, Goldman Sachs the other day Friday announced they're going to lay off 4,000 people. It's going to be come right after Christmas, come when everybody goes back to work after the 1st of January. You're going to see layoffs every day. Okay. When the big banks are saying, yeah, we see a recession coming, they're usually the last ones to say it. Okay. When they're saying it, yeah, we got problems coming. Mr. Bumble Hill, why do I heat things in the oven for the compost pile? I don't. Okay. So, and this is, you guys, inevitably, this is asking me about coffee grounds, banana peels, eggshells, that sort of stuff. That's not going in my compost pile. I could throw my coffee grounds, I could throw my banana peels in the compost pile. Absolutely could. Okay. But what I do with them is I dry them in the oven. Coffee grounds are wet. I don't want them wet. I mean, a banana peel is moist, etc. I want them totally dry, because then I can grind them in a blender to a powder, not a super fine powder. But now what I've got is fertilizer. I've got the nitrogen from the coffee grounds, I've got the potassium from the banana peels, and I've got the phosphorus from the bones, and then I've got calcium from eggshells. Okay. So as opposed to using 10-10-10 or something when I'm planting my seedlings, I just fill the furrows or the holes with my coffee ground, banana peel, bone meal, eggshell mixture, and everything is there right there as a slow release fertilizer. Yes, I could put it all in my compost pile. However, just like everybody else, I can never make enough compost for all my gardens. I've got 2,200 square feet of garden. Y'all know how much compost you can make. I mean, think about how much. I mean, I got 10 wheelbarrows full of compost last year. That was enough for 5 wheelbarrows in 2 of my small gardens, which maybe covered a quarter of each of them. Okay. I want to get those nutrients to my plants, all of them. And if I'm saving that stuff, that way I can use it as a fertilizer, and I can put it directly where I need it. But the reason I'm putting it in the oven, why do I heat the stuff that's not going in my compost pile? I'm heating it so I can dry it out, because then I put it in just mason jars or whatever, and it doesn't mold. KV, do I have any experience with Perfection or any other brands of kerosene heaters? No, I don't. I haven't done anything with a kerosene heater since my Army days, and that was with the Army kerosene heaters. And so, yeah, we're talking pushing what, almost 40 years at this point. 30 years. Yeah, 35 years, thereabouts. So no, I'm not going to be the one to answer any questions on kerosene heaters. I don't bullshit you. If I don't know, I'll tell you. I don't know. Space Girl, I want an elephant for Christmas. God. All right. White Feather, will I ever get chickens? If I'm going anywhere, I'm going rabbits. Okay. For the simple reason Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps have chickens. So we got that covered. So if they've got that, and I can go with something in the way of a meat animal that, again, working together, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for everybody to have the same thing. I mean, unless you're talking about weapons or something, and that way we've got different things that we can all work with together. That is more along the lines of my goal, but I got to get my freaking yard put together yet. I know I'll have the fish. If I'm going to do any land animals, it would be rabbits. Winona Halen, if you have bad eggs, can you still use the tube? Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about the shells. Yes, if you have bad eggs, crack them, dump out the eggs or whatever it is, wash out your egg shells just like you would with the regular one, and use it for fertilizer. You're just going after the calcium. That's it. So this one, Stormy Bell, thank you for the super chat. It says, Merry Christmas, Pinball and Mrs. P. What's on my Christmas menu? Does Mrs. P have a traditional favorite from Russia? I'll tell you what. Remind me after we do the, you know what, screw it. I'll answer the question here in a couple of minutes. Let's do this, and then I'll answer that question. All right, so this way we'll just, because otherwise I'm gonna slip up here, and somebody's gonna know exactly. I'm gonna answer the question. Okay, here we go. All right, sorry, hang on. There. Okay, get something in the throat. Trivia question. I'm going to ask you a trivia question, and I'm going to warn you guys now. Stop making comments, okay? Because, like I said, you got a 3-minute delay on this. Trivia question. This is something I have talked about on the channel, on a video, probably within the last 3 or 4 months. May not have all been together or anything like that, but by now we're on the 9th question. You guys should know how this one works, okay? It's a question about me. First person to get the answer on my screen, the mods don't even know the answers or the questions, so they are eligible to answer here too, okay? The first person to get the answer, and I don't know how it all comes, but when I see it on the screen, first one that gets the answer would get to pick an envelope, but there's only one left, so you're getting this envelope. And I will get this out to you, I think, on Tuesday is the next time UPS is coming to the house. So, okay. Question for tonight. 2-part answer. Okay. 1, 2. There's got to be both. Don't just do one. That doesn't count. Or won't win. Have to have both in the same comment. What is my heritage? Real simple. Where does my family come from? Both countries. Both countries. Okay, now there's a bunch of them, so I'm going to have to go to the top here. I'm going to say this again, both countries, just so you guys have that down. Okay, where... Okay. No, Leinenkugel's not a country. Chivo 061944. Spelling's wrong, answer's right. Polish and Czech, yes. And it's C-Z-E-C-H, not C-H-E-C-K, but yes. Polish and Czech. So Chivo 061944. You are the winner. And Chivo, guys, everybody can stop with comments, okay? I'll let y'all stop. Okay. Chivo, just give me a number 2 here on the comment, just so you know what you got here, because that's your envelope. But just so you heard that you won. Okay, Chivo's there. All right. I know what it is, but I will show you because you don't know what it is. And Chivo, you have the last remaining survival kit. So What I need you to do is email me your address, and I will get the survival kit sent off to you via UPS on Tuesday. You'll probably have it by Friday, so you'll have it for Christmas. So, all right, congratulations, Chivo. Now, I'm going to go back to the question that we had before, because if I would have answered it, it would have given away that question. All right, so the question was, and I forgot who asked it, I'm sorry. What's our Christmas dinner? Now, this is where it gets interesting. You guys have to remember, December 24th, December 25th in Russia is just a regular day, okay? January 7th is Christmas in the Russian Orthodox Church. In Russia, the gift-giving holiday is New Year's Eve. So there isn't a traditional December 24th, 25th Christmas dinner for Mrs. P. There is for me, okay? So it's kind of a combination of the Polish and the Czech meal. Okay, Christmas is celebrated on Christmas Eve. Okay, dinner starts when the first star is seen in the night sky, and then after dinner, you go open presents. Okay, at least that's the way my family's always done it. Okay, so whether or not that's everybody, I don't know. That's the way my family's done it. So that's what I'm keeping up. So traditional dinner, unfortunately, Mrs. P likes it all, is you'd start with cream of mushroom soup. That would be your basis. And then the meal itself will be pickled herring, fried oysters. What else do we have? As appetizers, have like cocktail shrimp. And then we decided to go with lobster cakes this year, just because because every year we have it. It's like we're still hungry. It's like, okay, so we wanted something, so we got 4 little lobster cakes for Christmas dinner. And then as a vegetable, have broccoli. And then afterwards, I will home make these. Okay, is kolachki, which is the little Czech cookies. You guys have seen it. They probably got other names for them too, but little circular, 2 ways to make it. Circular cookies with like a thumbprint cookie. It's got a jelly in the middle. Some people make them as squares and fold them over so it kind of look like a bow. Okay. And that'll be dessert. So, but it is a meatless meal, and that is what we will be doing on Christmas Eve instead of being here. And if we've got power this year, because we ran out of power, power went out last year when we were opening presents, we'll open presents there afterwards. It's just the 2 of us. My daughter will be here for, I think around the 4th of January or whatever, and then we'll celebrate Christmas again with her and do that way. So just the way it works out. So. All right. Yeah, okay, there you go. The cute one says, I made collage with apricot and cheese the other day. The cheese ones are good. Apricot is always excellent. We are doing, I let her pick out the jellies the other day. What are we doing? We are doing strawberry, raspberry. She wants to try them with orange marmalade, so we're going to try that one. And then one of you all had sent me a couple of bottles of guava jelly last year or whatever, and I've still got 1 jar of it. And so I'm going to make some guava jelly collage too, just because it's good. All right, let me get back to questions here. Okay, I got to find where I am. All right. Farmer Bob, what is the smallest picture on the shelf over my shoulder? Okay, what would it be? Well, it's on my left hand. Okay, the small one is St. Nicholas, not Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, but Mrs. P's Russian Orthodox, so that's her shelf of her icons there. So, I don't know the other one. Mother Mary, obviously, in the center, and Christ up top, which you can't see. And then there's another saint that is on the far left side that's outside the picture. But the one you're asking about is St. Nicholas. That one I know because that question comes up quite often. Okay. Janet Forster, you rip envelopes like my husband. Well, I don't have my knife with me right here, so I just did it with my finger. Kit Carlson, favorite pie minced. Well, I mean, my, I, I'm the pie guy as opposed to the cake pie or cake guy. Okay, cherry pie, apple pie, mincemeat pie. Uh, I'm there. Pumpkin, yeah, okay, but then give me a banana cream, a coconut cream, a blueberry pie. I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to see me turn down a piece of pie. CB, do I think I will add any type of wood heat for backup? I want to. I just got to talk the other half into it. I literally want to take this window out and put a fireplace right here. That's what I want to do. Of course, I got two things to fight: her and the bank account. But yes, that's what I want to do. Maybe one day we'll do it. I don't know, but because I mean, this goes right out to the parking area here with the house, so it's not like there's anything there, and there's a clean spot to go up the side of the house for a chimney. So I take the kitchen table and I move the kitchen table over there, and I put some chairs, make this a sitting area, and I know what I want to do. It's just whether or not I get permission from the one who will have my butt if I try to do it without her authorization. And I'm sorry, I kind of like being on the good graces of my wife. Uh, let's see. Do. Going hot. Does Mrs. P do Russian Christmas in January? Yes, we do, and she will get in and make the traditional Russian foods and stuff like that for it. And then, yes, we have. But you got to understand, Russian, again, gift giving is on New Year's. Okay. Russian Christmas is much more it's what Christmas is supposed to be. It's a religious holiday. Okay. It's not commercialized like ours is. The commercialized holiday for them is New Year's. Russian Christmas is very much a religious holiday. So that's kind of how she takes everything there. Oh yeah, Highlands Husky says, fried oysters. I will tell you this, if you guys like raw oysters, oysters on a half shell or whatever, I learned this when I was in Monterey, when I was at DLI, and there, I don't remember the name of the bar anymore, but there was a place that was right there on Fisherman's Wharf that had oyster shooters. And literally what it is it's a shot glass. It was a double shot glass, so everything fit. Throw a raw oyster in there, shot of vodka, a little Tabasco sauce, a little cocktail sauce, squeeze a lemon, stir it all together, and take the whole thing. That's something that we do here. I introduced her to that, and she's like, yeah, these are good. So, yeah, so we will do a few oyster shooters too. Jock Bluff Homesteader, you said dinner's at First Star. What if it's storming? Then we kind of guess. So, yes, there's been many cloudy Christmases. Then we kind of guess. So, it's usually somewhere around 5 o'clock. Susan Lathrop, bummer. I could not eat your dinner. I'm extremely allergic to seafood. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a couple of stories on this. My cousin, who you've heard me talk about, was married to a guy who was previously married. He had 2 kids. This is when I was high school. And the kids would not eat seafood whatsoever. So Christmas dinner, I mean, they were probably a couple of years younger than I was. So Christmas dinner, all of us are having our fish and whatever, and they're eating a can of SpaghettiOs. That was it. Okay. And then my ex-wife didn't like fish. So she literally had a plate with broccoli on it, and that was it. Yeah. Again, it comes down, and think about the world as it is right now. Everybody else is not going to change their life or their way of doing things because one person is uncomfortable with it. Sorry, we're all going to do what we normally do. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. You go do your own thing, but leave us be. Yeah, that's kind of how the world wants to be. You want to have all your cross-dressing, whatever the hell you want, go ahead. Just leave the kids out of it. You want to do it in the comfort of your own home, that's fine, but not marching down Main Street over to the elementary school. Rat's Cats. Mr. Rat's Cats wants to eat with you. I believe it. When Mrs. P when we had Marfa, who was the cat that Mrs. P brought with her. Yeah, the cat was going absolutely insane on Christmas because everything was fish. So, prepping for heaven. It's almost like the Feast of the Seven Fishes then. Yeah, but that's kind of it's how it's taken its toll. I mean, if I go back to my family, okay, and a lot of this you can't even do anymore. It was we'd get the whole herring at the Archer Avenue in Chicago, Archer Avenue Fish Market. Okay, those of you in Chicago know Archer Avenue. Well, you can't get the whole fish anymore. So Dad used to make the pickled herring. Now you got to buy it, which isn't anywhere good. It's the homemade stuff. And then on the Czech side, Mom would make a dish. It was called Kuba. And what it is it's barley, mushrooms, and garlic. And those were the two staples for dinner. And, you got a whole herring. Well, you can't get, you got to buy jarred herring anymore. You get these little pieces of it. So you still get the flavor of it, but that was it. But you don't have that whole chunk of fish. So over time, it's kind of evolved. It's like, okay, we still have to have something for dinner. And so that's kind of why Mrs. P and she loves shrimp. And so we have shrimp in the afternoon and everything like that. But, we're like, okay, it's got to be here. And we looked at, last year, I think we got 2 of the little lobster tails from Kroger or whatever, and they were $7 a piece. And you get 3 little bites, maybe 2 little bites of lobster out of it. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. I said, well, maybe we do crab legs this year until I looked. They wanted $30 a pound for crab legs the other day. Like, that ain't happening. So it was like, oh, okay, look, here's, little lobster cakes. It's lobster and imitation lobster, but I'm like, okay, it's still good enough. And so that was why we went there. So it's kind of going with what's available, but I mean, if we go back to Europe, it wasn't even herring, it was carp that they ate back then. So, everything evolves over time a little bit as to what's available. Bury the herring in my tomatoes. Yeah, that'd be great, but herring's a little expensive to do that with. If I'm gonna do anything, go get sardines. Let's see. Whoops, we just shot to the bottom. Okay, let's see. Sue, does Mrs. P have a hobby or a craft? Not really. Yeah, I would say, I mean, her hobby is her dog is is Copper. Okay. And I mean, she will do anything and everything for that dog. If it's an hour outside throwing a ball with the dog or not throwing a ball with Daphne, but yeah, I mean, her hobby is giving love to the dogs. Let's put it that way. That would be the best way I could explain it, Raw oysters with whiskey and hot sauce. That one I've never heard of. Okay. Chase Rajika. Rzitska? Okay. Sorry about butchering your name. Just got to use Berkey. Where to get filters? Thanks. Go on Amazon. That's the easiest way to do it, because you're going to be running all over town trying to find it. Just go on Amazon. Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay. Joyfully Orange says, family's Polish will open gifts to the whole family at Grandma's on Christmas Eve, but home on Christmas morning and back to Grandma's for a big dinner of fish, pierogi, sauerkraut, and noodles. Yes, I didn't mention the fact that, yes, pierogi and sauerkraut are also part of Christmas Eve dinner. So, yes, trust me, if it's a Polish meal, pierogi's in there. And we had pelmeni for dinner tonight, so, which is kind of similar. It's Russian. Just one more fold. Let's see. Yes, no. Beth Burdick says no pierogies. Yeah, they're there. I just forgot about them. Add sunshine. Grandpa always had a jar of herring for Christmas. But I'll tell you, the stuff that comes in a jar, it cannot touch. They're making them homemade out of the whole fish. I remember my dad take him a week to make the herring, come home from work every night, and it was like, okay, I've got to do this part tonight. But oh my God, it's like we devour those things. Mary Will says raspberry's my favorite. My favorite kolach is apricot. I'm not a big apricot fan, but apricot kolach are the best ones, I think. Fastball 2611. Merry Christmas, Pinball. Would you recommend cashing in my loose coins? The first thing I'd say is go through them and make sure there's no silver in it. Okay. Anything that's pre-1965. Make sure there's nothing pre-1965, except for pennies. It doesn't matter. Dimes or quarters. You want anything pre-1965 safe. Cashing in your change. If you need the cash, yeah. Otherwise, I might want to hold on to it. Remember the coin shortage we had a couple of years ago? You might get a situation, I'm hypothesizing here. You might get a situation here where a bank says, hey, we'll give everybody $1 for every dollar's worth of coin they bring in or something like that. You might. I don't know. Might make you a quarter. Who knows? But not high on my priority list. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I don't think it's going to hurt you either way. Lava jelly. Yeah, there you go. This is straight from the volcano. Mike, EcoFlow suggests storing at 30% for the long term. And that's why I said you've got to use it every once in a while too. Storing a generator at 30% is stupid. Why I want it full for when I need it, because I never know when the power is going to go out. Okay. It's like, oh, the power went out. Well, great. The battery's at 30%. Cool. I'll plug it in and charge it. No, it doesn't work that way. Oh, I'll go put it outside. Well, yeah, right now it's pitch black. Okay. I need lights or whatever I need. Yeah. They can suggest whatever they want. I'm going to do what makes sense. And that goes for any company. Broken Dolly. In my family, we call those little cookies balish. My favorite are the dates with ground walnut. My guess is you are probably either Southern European or in the stands, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, whatever it would be somehow. Turkey, anywhere down there. That'd be the dates are what's throwing me there. But yeah, you got to remember all these recipes, you think about it, they were things that people, back before there were trains of, produce and planes and everything like this going all over the place. If you had an orange in Chicago 100 years ago, 200 years ago, oh my God, how the hell, where'd you get this? Okay. Same thing. All the recipes came from what do we have locally and what can we make out of it? Okay. Everybody's got flour and eggs and can make a dough. And where your family came from, they had dates. Where my family came from, they had fruits, and that was, apricots or whatever. Peach pie. There's another good one. Big country. Is religion still forbidden in Russia? No, hasn't been since the Soviet Union fell. Susan Musser, what are my prepping and personal goals for 2023? I haven't got that far yet. I'm trying to get through Christmas first. Then I'll think about next year after Christmas is done. Land that I love. 2 years ago at family Christmas at my house, there was an ice storm with a power failure. I have a wood stove and oil lamps. My son said I had it all covered because I was prepared. Yep. I mean, that's it. You never know when it's going to happen. I mean, and it always happens at the worst time. It's like, oh my God, I've got a big meeting that I'm going to be on a Zoom call for in 15 minutes. Blink, no power. Now what do you do? Joyfully orange. Somehow I managed to avoid the herring, though we were supposed to take a bite of everything. No. The one thing we couldn't find is kruszczyki. And that's a Polish cookie, but could not find that when we were at I call it the Russian grocery because that's what she's going after, but it's an Eastern European grocery. So, I mean, it's everything from Polish, Czech, Romanian, Ukrainian, you name it, Russian, everything. So, Richard Ingram, do I like fruitcake? Yes. And so does Mrs. P. We're probably the only couple in the United States that both people like fruitcake. It's not a doorstop in this house. We actually bought 2 of them, not to give as gag gifts, to eat. And they're gone already, I bet. Sharon Ann Menifee, build a Russian stove you can sleep on top. Okay, that's going to be a new one to me. I don't know what a Russian stove is. Sweet potato pie, had that. That's always good. That's got to have walnuts with it, though, too. Angela Land sounds like she'd be the easier one to convince. Yeah, between the wife and the checkbook. Yeah, the wife's always easier. The checkbook's always the one that fights the most. Stephanie Jarrell, how do you feel about baked ham? I always have it for Christmas Day. I mean, I've made turkeys for Christmas Day. I've made hams for Christmas Day. My ex-wife's family had prime rib on Christmas Day. That just didn't sound right to me. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it was like just something not right about that with me. But it was good. Ooh, there you go, Kevin Little. My daughter makes an awesome peanut butter pie every holiday. You make a peanut butter and chocolate pie. Oh, those are good. See, now you guys get me in the mood for pie here. D. Jensen, Russian tea cookies, my favorite. Yeah, try finding them. They're hard. I was actually going to get some for Mrs. P online if I could find them. The ones I found were crap. And fortunately, we went to the store and we went to Russian grocery. She found some. So I actually made her homemade Russian tea cakes. This was back when we were in Utah. I actually made them for her one Saturday morning just to be nice. Brenda Mackey, tell Mrs. P wood heat helps your bones. There you go. A Statine 85, is that it? Fireplace with long, slim side windows. No, I think it would you got to remember our house is very rustic, cabin, everything that wouldn't fit in the architecture of the house whatsoever. It'd just be a stone fireplace. That'd be it. Briar Palek, outdoor wood furnace, keep the mess out of the house. Yeah, it'd just be a hell of a lot more difficult to implement into this house because of the way the house is built. Remember, I'm on the side of a mountain, okay? So the house is like this, so I've got 6 stairs to go up to get in the front door, but the back door is actually one step down, and this side is all driveway, and that side is all air conditioner and utility. So there's not a whole lot of places to put stuff outside. Prepping for heaven, don't do a fireplace, do a wood stove. I've thought about that too. I mean, you do a fireplace to wood insert, wood stove. I mean, I like I said, we're not that far. It's what I have in here. It's not what I have here. And I thought I just hang on. I'm gonna mess this all up. Okay. Harbor Prepper, there we go. Thank you for the super chat. Love fruitcake. I buy a dozen every year, have one per month as a treat. Found that many who curl their noses at fruitcake have never tried it. I proved that with a few friends at the Pentagon. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's candied fruit and cake. It's sweet. You know, the ones we had the other day had too much nutmeg in them, but okay, it was still edible. All right. So let me try to get back to where we were. Diane Dusendang, any update on the railroad potential strike? Seems pretty quiet out there. Nothing that I've heard. So, you know, and again, we're going into the week before Christmas here. Congress is now off on vacation. You know, next week is going to be real slow. So, see what happens. Her hobby is keeping the family happy. Yes. She's good at that one, too. Stephanie Jarrell, I love smoked salmon. Do y'all eat it too? I smoke salmon, I grill salmon, and then Mrs. P will salt salmon, and then we'll have that, you know, almost make it like lox, and so have that with bagels and cream cheese. But get, you know, when you go buy a piece of salmon in the store or whatever it is, and then she will salt it and make it up and everything like that. It's really good. Michael Eversberg, pinball. Every Christmas we would try a dish from a different country. That sounds cool. You know, it's like, oh, what are we going to do? We're going to have Christmas in Ethiopia this year. We're going to have Christmas in Korea this year. That sounds fun. You've got to have a family who is open to eating a lot of different things. I love it because I try pretty close. I'll at least try it. May not like it, you know. But I'll at least try it, you know, and then you have other people who will turn their nose up unless it's, you know, beef and potatoes. Huts John, sardines are $1 for 3 ounces, but mackerel is, at least used to be, $2.39 for 15.5 ounces at Kroger. Yes, and I will say the same thing, because if you want to get mackerel, you can get it cheaper at Dollar General. I think it's $1.75 a can for the 15.5 ounce cans, because Mrs. P makes fish soup, and we use the canned mackerel for that. And then I also use the canned mackerel or sardines, depending on which one we feel like, under our trees. So when we plant the trees, I got God knows how many more trees I got to go in this spring. Sherman's Crossing. Christmas morning, my dad made a stew with oysters and milk. No idea where that comes from. Yeah, I'm going to be hard pressed. Somebody's going to have to really hold me down and have me eat oysters for breakfast. Mrs. P can eat anything at any time. Don't ask me how. I'm like, breakfast? No. I'll do waffles. I'll do oatmeal. I'll do eggs or whatever and stuff like that. I'll do cold pizza for breakfast. But do not try to give me oyster stew for breakfast. I do not want that. Susan Hoydick, does Mrs. P know how to make those pretty straw ornaments? If she does, I don't know that she does, because we don't have any of them. So, Groundhog says Merry Christmas to me and everyone. Merry Christmas back to you. Sharon Ann Menifee, did I put straw down on the floor under the table? No. Not that much. No. Mary, is a zero water filter as good as a Berkey? No, but a zero water is good. I use my zero water every day now. It's our everyday water filter that we filter the well water we get. I don't see any reason to do any more than that. The Berkey that I've got is if I have to start drinking water out of the pond. Okay, then I'll run that through a Berkey. But Noah Zero is not as good as a Berkey, but depending on the situation, uh, and again, depending on your water. I mean, if you live in Flint, Michigan, yeah, you probably want to run everything through a Berkey. But you know, no, they're not as good, but they are still good. Let's put it that way. Woo. Prepared liquid 1776. Have I seen the funny video of, I'm not even going to try, surströmming pickled herring? No, I have not. Rat's Cast, please make a video on making herring. I can't. You can't get the whole herrings. I mean, it'd be great, but I mean, unless I can get a whole herring with the livers intact, I can't even do it. Huffy Prepper, poppy seed and apricot are my favorite collage. There you go. Let's see. Anthony G21, hey Pinball, do you think there will be a spike in the stock market before a hard crash? Probably, because you'll probably get a short squeeze that comes in first, and then the crash. You're gonna have, again, look at Nancy Pelosi. Okay, she's the world's greatest stock trader. There's going to be this. All the shorts are going to cover, which is going to drive the price up, which is going to make other people go, look, everything's okay, and then the bottom's going to fall out. My opinion. Like-minded, anyone make garland for Christmas tree with mason rings? Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell are mason rings? You mean mason jar rings? Be an interesting idea. Yeah. We've just got ribbon on ours, so yeah, it's no garlands or anything like that. Brenda Mackey, apricot jam and one bottle of Kraft barbecue sauce makes a great sweet and sour sauce for meatballs. I've eaten them. I mean, the ones I don't like are when people make it with grape jelly. I know some people love them that way. I'm like, boo, just doesn't taste right to me. Okay, where are we? There we go. Karen, let's see. Broken Dolly, love apricot beliche, the old-fashioned cream cheese recipe, not the American yeast dough. Yes, I use the old-fashioned cream cheese recipe too. Yes, make mine. Karen Tomor, cashing your coins for silver rounds. That's what we did. You have a lot of coins, but yeah, might as well. Okay, this one I don't even know. Angie Moritz, my favorite Christmas cookie is key flies. I never heard of it. My great grandmother's Hungarian recipe. No idea what they are, but okay. I mean, if it's an old school recipe like that, it's got to be good. If it's still being talked about, it's got to be good. Whispers Human, how did I find, God, this is a question I don't want to get into. How do I find someone to dig my pond? Did I get someone to map it and all? I did the mapping, I did the designing, everything. Finding an excavator to do it. And then, of course, I found an excavator who told me he'd dug plenty of ponds and had all this experience, and the guy couldn't figure out how to dig a hole if he had a shovel. Yeah, no, the guy was utterly incompetent. And that's why I had to have another company come in and fix all his mistakes and then go to court. Circe, electric bill went from 51 to 118 in a month. Massachusetts just looked. Wow. Yeah, well, they warned you guys about a month ago. Says, oh yeah, your bills are going up 67%, I think. Yeah. I mean, we got ours today. I think it was $185. It was $111 last month. Stephanie Jareel, my family always has ambrosia at Christmas. There you go. All right, down to the last minute here. Von Mousetrap, Mr. P, what about a pellet stove instead of a wood stove? The reason I don't like that idea is what happens when you can't get pellets? I can always get around here, I can always get firewood, okay? But you got to buy pellets. So get an SHTF situation, there ain't nowhere to buy pellets, and I'm not going to buy some machine that I can make pellets out of my tree. I'm just going to use firewood. So, all right, guys, it is 10 o'clock. I'm probably going to be late tomorrow because I need to get some sleep. But y'all have a good evening. We'll see you when I get up in the morning. Pinball out.